Rainollon here. Today is another build showcase and it's Basmu. Today I'm going to show you two builds. One is a multi-shot build, the other one is a security build. So let us immediately start. Starting with the multi-shot setup. So the mods I'm using in the multi-shot setup are Galvanized Scope, which gives you critical chance while aiming, Vital Sense, critical damage, Galvanized Chamber, multi-shot, Galvanized Zap, stash chance, and direct damage per stash on target, Rim Rounds, Coldness stash chance, Malignant Force, Toxin stash chance, Toxin, and Cold gives you viral, Hammer Shot, critical damage, and stash chance. With Galvanized App, Hammer Shot, and these two, we have over 100% stash chance, which is quite nice. And also, this Hammer Shot gives you critical damage, which is really good too. Critical delay, 200% critical chance, lowers your fire rate. It's not that big of a deal. The weapon's fire rate is pretty solid. This is also the Flex mod. You can easily remove this for a Riven, for Vigilant Ornaments, a Bane mod. It's all up to you. For the Exos Weapon Adapter slot mods, I highly recommend going for Terminal Velocity for projectile speed, or Vigilant Supplies for enhancing your crits. We're going to crit, so this is quite good too. For the Arcane, Primary Deadhead is by far the best in slot. On precision headshot kills, you get easy access to 360 increased damage, 30% headshot multiplier, and weapon recall. All of these stats, really good for this weapon. For the passive, it sucks. Let's ignore it. For the stats, fire rate, really good. Magazine 21, which is kind of low, but it has the infinite battery system, which is the regeneration system on the magazine, which has a 0.2 seconds reload, which is quite nice. Accuracy very high, automatic, punch through doesn't work. Riven display is quite good. If you like the multi-shot system more than the Utility, I highly recommend going for critical chance, critical damage, multi-shot Riven. It's by far the best in slot, and remove critical delay for it. Critical chance is below average, but I'm still going to focus on critical chance. Critical multi is above average, which is solid. Stash chance is really good, over 100%, really good. And total damage is below average. It also explodes in a 1.7 meter radius, doing heat instead of electricity. Viral, because of these two mods. And it does like much less damage, but it helps. And all has the exact same stats here. And the hold, the alternative fire mode, it shoots like a shotgun beam, and it eats ammo way too fast, and the critical chance is horrible. Crit damage is quite impressive, has slightly higher stash chance, but the total damage sucks. So building this thing for heavy critical build setup and critical chance setup is kind of something I will not recommend. It eats ammo way too fast, and this weapon's magazine size is 21, and yeah, it just isn't worth it. It shoots a beam that chains, and you have to be very close to enemies, and it just doesn't do a lot of damage, and you can't really headshot enemies with this. It immediately goes towards their stomachs, and it just feels bad. So the alt fire I would just say to ignore. So overall, those are the stats, the mods, the arcane. Time for me to show you the multi-shot setup. I'm going to spawn level 200 steel path or battle group dudes, wait for the butchers to come out so I can headshot them, get the dead head stacks. Here they are. 2 stacks, 3 stacks, there we go. Now I kill him with like 2 to 3 bullets now. Heavy gunner. You can see that heavy gunner melts. You can also see that I'm proccing viral, I'm proccing heat and electricity, and a lot of it. And yeah, it isn't half bad, I will say. It's one of the better. And that's mostly because of the secondary effect, the AoE. It helps a lot, and also procs heat, and heat is quite good now, especially against armored enemies. And you also have electricity against corpus enemies. So overall, the multi-shot setup and the stats on this weapon on the multi-shot is solid. Time for me to show you the Accuracy setup. So Accuracy setup, instead of me using Galvanized Chamber, I'm going to use Primary Accuracy, and all of the other mods are identical. It's just one mod difference. It's just this one has Galvanized Chamber, this one has Primary Accuracy. Primary Accuracy, what it does, it gives you weak point damage and weak point critical chance. Multi-shot cannot be modified, so that's why Galvanized Chamber is gone. And weak point damage and weak point critical chance, what is that? Shooting enemies in the head. So if you shoot enemies in the head, you do a lot more damage and have a much higher critical chance. And yeah, you're going to see orange and red crits, and it's quite powerful. And for the Exos Weapon Adapter slot, I still recommend Terminal Velocity or Vigilant Supplies for enhancing your crits. Arcane is Primary Deadhead, and stat-wise, it's identical. The only thing different here is if you like the accuracy setup more than the multi-shot for Riven, I will highly recommend focusing on a critical chance, critical damage, fire rate Riven, I will say, and you remove critical delay for it. If you like the multi-shot one more, critical chance, critical damage, multi-shot, and remove critical delay for it. And yeah, it's my opinion, this is much stronger, but requires you to constantly headshot enemies. This one is much easier to use. You just don't need to headshot enemies. You just have to aim down sight, sometimes headshot enemies, get the deadhead stacks, and just shoot wherever you like, and you're going to kill them. So how good is the accuracy setup? Like I said, you're going to see some weird numbers. I don't believe this is intended. I have a feeling this weapon is bugged with primary accuracy. And yeah, you're immediately going to see red crits. We start with yellow, once a headshot. Yeah, like 1.5 million. I don't know where the hell is it pulling 1.5 million. 961,000. You can see the heavy gunner just disappearing really fast. I don't know, something feels off with primary accuracy in this mod. Maybe it sees it as a multiplicative, but yeah, it's quite powerful. You can see all these beautiful red crits. Enemies dying like 3 bullets. Lancers dying like 3 bullets. And yeah, it's quite more disgusting and more satisfying. The Outfire, like I said, it just isn't good. Ignore it, and the passive also isn't really good. And overall, that's the Basmu builds. Both the multi-shot setup and the primary accuracy setup. Both of them are usable, both of them are good. One requires aiming, the other one doesn't. So it's all up to you. You can use both by using 5 formas of this weapon, and you can set up both of these builds and constantly change between them and enjoy both. So yeah, that's Basmu. I hope you enjoy the builds. Thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like, sub, and see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye.